Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. This video is extremely important. I want to remind you again, I'm not racist. I'm not a black supremacist. I'm a moral supremacist. So, first of all, I want you to understand two things. One, most people, especially in California, most people think Republicans are racist, and they're basically right. They're racist on a spectrum. They're not all in the Klan, but they all have chosen to go along with racist agendas on a spectrum. In fact, almost everyone's racist on a spectrum. That's a story for another day. I personally am not racist. I'm not even one race. Number two, I want you to write this down and write down number 1 and 2. This is very important. Look at how many red states there are. So if most Republicans are racist, okay, and like half the country, is either a red state or a state that's right now swinging toward red, okay, and that Donald Trump's expected to win the election again, mind you, again, then America, therefore, is basically, clearly, a mostly racist country. No offense to anybody, I'm born in America. These are the facts. Now you must understand that many Democrats are racist. Many Democrats aren't a big fan of minority rights. They have certain agendas. Maybe they're LGBT, maybe they're, pushing their climate change agenda, whatever it is, okay? They want the planet to go green. But they're not all singing kumbaya, willing to date another race, etc. And many of them are the family members of Republicans. So to put things simply, right, if we really look at what places are not that racist, and this is very key here, very key, you'll see that the Bay Area in California, some places in California, are a bit less racist than the rest of the country. Seattle's a bit less racist, and there's a few more places, and other than that, racism dominates. And where you have black racism, it tends to be not a big deal because they don't have that much money and power to affect other people, to oppress other people. Again, black racism in America, it tends to not be a big deal because they don't have enough money and power to oppress other people, and most black people are not racist. Okay, most black people aren't that racist. In recent years, because they've been pressed so much by people creating Black Lives Matter, which is a straw man that doesn't really represent the true values of the black community at large, okay, because of, the various token minorities, because of the hatred for black people, because of the Asian assaults being blamed on black people instead of the government hiring people and using mind control, because of various things that are clearly unfair, black people have become a little bit more racist, I'd imagine. Okay, now I don't do polls in this, but just the feeling I get. Okay, now a lot of them still aren't racist. A lot of them are very much scrambling to be multicultural and so on and so forth. But there's been a lot of black hatred in recent years. And part of that hatred is expressed in the fact that people are voting for Trump. Why exactly? Now, a lot of Republicans will say, oh, here we go, playing the race card. Okay, I'm not voting for either candidate in the election. Okay? No offense to anybody. I wish that there was a candidate that truly wanted to tell the truth about everything, that exposed gangstalking, that did everything right, that I would vote for him. But there's not. Okay, this is not about controlling the election. This is not a race making a power move. I'm biracial. This is the truth here. Most people vote for Trump because they roll with the racist sentiment of society. They kind of put money first, give or take. But part of that is, being clannish, grouping together by race. And over the years, the epigenetic effect, the generational effect that it's had is that people are being bred more and more to be racist. There was never a time in this country's history where the majority of people were not being bred more and more to be racist. It just changed the form. It's a more technological racism, scientific racism, what have you. In fact, if we look at dating and the characteristics people have, we see a higher percentage of nerds. Now, some people think this is a good thing or something. Well, look at in terms of romantic justice. Why would that be unless it's romantically unfair? Why would that be, Why would that be a good thing when we see that a lot of these people are high school dropouts? They look nerdy, but they're not that smart. We see a higher prevalence of brain disorders. Now, how do I know this without the studies? Well, everywhere I look. I've been on the internet for many years. I assure you, younger people are dumber now than they were when I was young. And a lot of people when I was young were dumber than a doorknob, okay? People have gotten dumber. They depend more on technology, okay? There's more mind control. And mind control fucks up the brain, and it has a generational effect. Anytime you affect the brain, okay, over a long period of time, it has a significant generational effect. And they're going to use that to kind of try to justify hooking people to a machine more remotely and modifying genes and stuff like this. Look up transhumanism. You'll see that I'm right. That's what they're going to do. I'd like to close this by saying, because I've introduced you to a lot of ideas, and I'm going to get to this more in the future, okay, by saying that, yes, it's harder to communicate to people who are less intelligent than they were before. I've suffered some cognitive impairment. In many ways, I'm less intelligent than I was before. I was sharper before. I had less kind of experience in research and stuff like this, going back 10 years or something, but I was sharper 10 years ago, okay? It doesn't really show in a lot of my videos because they edit them into next week. They want you to believe that somebody who's old, right, gold, G old, right, cold, C old, right? There's a reason why the word old isn't the word gold. Think about Scrooge McDuck. Think about old money, okay? They want you to think that people who are old are magically, better leaders than a sharp, young person, which will never exist again. And speaking of that, I want to close by saying that not all people are born equal. If we had a society, which we don't, but if we did, that, someone can work hard and save money and give it to their children in a way that's on the up and up and is fair, which it doesn't exist, mind you. It will never exist again. Then they could argue that their children deserve that generational inheritance, in that case, fair and square. And so it is with righteousness. My family worked hard as martial artists long ago. Then my dad was a scholar, a brain surgeon, and so on and so forth. And it passed on to me those martial art traits. Martial art. Heart, he art. Martial is marital scramble, the bridegroom. It passed that moral inheritance, that righteous inheritance on to me. And therefore, I deserve the right to leverage that to get money, to get women, to have social status. That's well deserved. But they prevented that. And so they're passing those ill-gotten gains on to their offspring. This is one reason why white people try to confuse people, white Jews and LGBT, as groups. Not every individual will say, but as groups. Because they know the generational inheritance argument doesn't work in their favor. So they reinforce the psychological construct. They make themselves look worse. They make it so money has less value because the things you buy are rubbish and it's blood money trash. Okay, and it doesn't work in their favor. They're better off admitting these things. Okay? So all children are not born equal. Not just because some people are tall, some people are short, some people are fatter than others, some people are skinnier, some people have better physiology, and on and on and on, right? Some people are born mentally ill, brain disorders, okay? All children, right, shouldn't be abused or something. I mean, but they're not all born equal. Okay, for those of you who are Christians, you should already know that I'm right. When David had Solomon, when David impregnated one of his women and Solomon was born, was he born equal to the other Jews? No. Was Christ, the Son of God, born equal? No, because he's the son of the source of righteousness. I'm the son of the martial art line, which is the source of righteousness in this world, right? For the Gnostic, it's the source of righteousness, and that's all there is to it. If he's done his math, he's done this, he's on his P's and Q's. So I'm above everyone else. Okay, and furthermore, some people are far below everyone else from generational old blood money inheritances. No offense to anyone, these are the facts. You have to understand this. Eugenics overkills this. They have gone out of their way to control reproduction. Okay? And as such, over time, the children are not naturally born. They're not the offspring of love and righteousness and justice and the martial art principles. They're the offspring of evil people controlling reproduction. Therefore, justice cannot exist in the future for more than one reason. One, there's no way to be moral or just, as one lives their life after my flesh dies. Number two, they were deliberately bred as people who are the offspring of cheating everyone else. Read Proverbs 1 verse 19. Such are the paths of those who go after ill-gotten gain. It takes away the life of all who get them. So in the future, like it says in Revelation 17, the Bible is making clear that these are abominations, the children of prostitutes and mockers, and abominations and corporate thieves and psychopaths. Okay? There is no happy ending for them because they cheated the righteous. And they didn't even allow for the possibility for righteousness to spring up again because they controlled reproduction to such an extreme. And they've poisoned people who are more righteous than they are. They've fumed them and poisoned them and hacked their brains, and they've done all kinds of horrible things. And then they went as far as to obstruct justice by denying it, even though it's so commonly understood that they deny obvious facts that it's called white denial. And anybody who, could be black or Niam. But if you contribute to white denial, you're suffering from white denial. It's like trickle down white denial, trickle down from the core evil in the psychological construct in the pyramid of evil. Okay, so everyone should know that I'm right. If you have any questions, put in the comments. Any parts that are confusing, watch them again. Okay? This video is important. I'm not a black supremacist. I'm a moral supremacist. A black supremacist would be trying to set the stage for black people to rule over other people in the future. I'm not doing that. I say no one should have children no matter what. Okay? This is the truth of the matter. These are the facts. This is the bottom line. And even if you're the most guilty person on the planet, you should want this to be known. Especially when you look at the trajectory that people are on. Okay? This world is literally transforming into hell where people are doing magic with technology, right? It's it's less mature than Ronald McDonald, what they're doing. It's like Ronald McDonald, as a pedophile with a lot more technology where people are brainwashed. I mean, it's not a society, it's not a planet worth living in.